Six Nations 2022 round number 1 team of the week, picking 15 guys. We'll go through some stats, what they did at the weekend, and yeah, eventually we'll have 15 guys to represent our team. As always, don't take it too seriously. It's just my team of the week. Certainly not the right team of the week. I will leave out some outstanding performers. I'll probably include some shockers, but that's just the way these things go. Yeah, what else was I going to say? That's pretty much it. We'll start with some props, I guess. We will start with an Irishman in Andrew Porter. I know Tadhg Furlong tends to get the plaudits for the most part in Ireland, but I think on the other side of the scrum this week, Andrew Porter was something of a shining light. Not to say, Furlong did anything bad, and it's a different position, but at loose head prop, I think Porter stole the show in the front row, for mine anyway. He finishes with 5 runs at 12 metres. He has a pass and a defender beaten. He has 9 from 9 tackles, plus he wins a turnover. The scrummaging is immense. He doesn't concede any penalties. I think he plays the most minutes of any of the front rowers. But yeah, I thought Andrew Porter absolutely looked the business and continues to do so at loose head. Really nice to see him make that transition. That front row of Porter, Furlong and Kelleher is a pretty mean part of that green machine. Rhyming done. Now I'm going to go tight head, and I'm going with an Englishman, which is not going to prove popular. But Kyle SINCKLER. In a losing effort, we always give the losing players a lot more grief than we do the winning ones, but it was only a 3-point game. Kyle SINCKLER was pretty consistently good for England at the weekend. He makes 9 runs for 13 metres, which is a heck of a work rate. I know England had a fair bit of ball. He has 6 passes, which is more than any prop this weekend. He has the hands of a 10. So does Furlong, actually. He's been proven to be something of an adept passer, but more passes than any prop this weekend. 10 from 10 tackles, which is not quite the most. I think maybe Tom Francis had the most tackles from props this weekend, but he's right up there, Kyle SINCKLER, despite the fact that England had a lot of the ball. I think he's England's second top tackler behind Tom Curry. Tom Curry missed some tackles, SINCKLER didn't, and SINCKLER played like 15 minutes fewer than Curry, and Curry had 1 more tackle. So defensively, SINCKLER was a bit of a beast. He wins a turnover. I think he was pretty bloody good. I think he did concede 1 scrum penalty. I think he's got 2 penalties overall. From memory, 1 was at scrum time. I only watched the game the once. I think he wins a scrum penalty as well. So he kind of evens that one out. But overall, I thought SINCKLER was pretty good. Other props at the weekend, obviously I've talked them up. Tadhg Furlong, you guys know I love Big Tadhg. Could have easily been team of the week. If you want to chuck him in tight head, feel free to do so. He was, as I said, pretty immense. Bai from France was also quite the unit. I think he finished with more run meters than any prop this weekend. So, yes, those are the old props. Hooker was kind of a tough one because I don't know that we had absolutely kind of phenomenally outstanding hookers this weekend. But part of that Irish front row unit, I've gone with Kelleher from Ireland. Like I mentioned, the front row from Ireland is pretty immense, isn't it? And he's kind of gone from last year being the bench guy, getting some experience, to being the front runner. Speaking of running, 6 runs, 21 metres is a solid shift. He finishes with 4 passes and an offload. He has 9 from 10 tackles, which in itself is quite a shift. But pleasingly, in a weekend where the weather was not all that conducive to proper line-out play, Ireland finished with 15 from 16 line-outs, which puts Ireland in the 90-something%. I don't recall how many exactly were Kelleher's. I know the 1 missed line-out was Kelleher's. But yeah, for the most part, Ireland's line-out was looking pretty solid, which can't be said for all the line-outs. Even the ones which had better completion rates were maybe not quite as good as the Irish one at the weekend. So that's going to be a real weapon going forward if they can keep that up. Honourable mention for hooker, I'd say maybe Marchand and Lucchese. Marchand made a heap of carries. Lucchese made a heap of tackles. So, yeah, Lucchese's line-out wasn't quite as cracking. Marshawn's numbers were pretty good, but often the ball wasn't that clean. Locks, I will go with a Scotsman. You guys know I love Johnny Gray. It's part of the reason I picked him in here, I guess. But he also just continues to do what Johnny Gray does. I mean, 3 runs for 10 metres is not phenomenal numbers, but it's not light in terms of metres per carry for a lock. He has a clean break amongst that. He has a defender beaten, 4 passes, but where Johnny Gray always shines is his tackles. 13 from 13 tackles in 63 minutes. Not a bad effort. That's more tackles than a lot of players made in 80, so huge shift from him. 5 line-out wins. He did concede the first penalty in the game, which England promptly ticked over for 3. Fortunately for him, it wasn't costly in the scheme of the game, but yeah, Johnny Gray I thought was pretty tidy. And another Irishman in James Ryan, which is an easy name to spell. Both those guys, just the old 4 letters, easier on the brain. James Ryan, maybe is he getting back to his form from 2018-ish? I don't know. He's only just kind of come back from injury, but he didn't look like a man with any rust. Just the work rate, man. 8 runs. I mean, compare that to Johnny Gray's 3. You know, Ireland had a lot of ball. But yeah, man, 8 runs, 13 metres. So in terms of the metres per carry, he's lower than Gray, but in terms of the overall getting on the ball, it's higher. 2 passes from him, 12 from 12 tackles. So again, just that engine on him is huge. 4 line-out wins. He does concede 1 turnover, but very pleasing to see James Ryan kind of back in the driver's seat and operating seemingly at full fitness. Willems also from France is a good honourable mention because he got through a heap of work and only played 50-odd minutes as well, so he would also be worth a shout. Loose forwards, blindside flanker, if I can get my spelling right, from France, Anthony GELONCH was also rather a busy chap at the weekend. Got through a mountain of work and also managed to bag himself a try as well. A bit of a poacher's effort to pounce on some loose Italian ball. 6 runs, 34 metres, which does include a clean break, which is that try, which would have been a good, I don't know how many metres was it, 15, 20? So that's a chunk of them, but it's some good heads-up play from him. Beats 2 defenders, has 3 passes of which 2 are offloads, so he's got a wee skill set on him. He has 9 from 9 tackles, which is 100%. He has a turnover 1. He does concede 1 penalty, but overall, GELONCH, I thought, had a pretty good shift. Honourable mention for that, maybe Ludlam, I think, from England. Likewise, got through a bunch of tackles and some carries. I think he won a good turnover as well. Open side, I managed to get a Welshman in here. If I can spell it. There were a few good open sides this weekend, but TAINE BASHAM, absolutely outstanding. And an otherwise pretty dismal performance from Wales, you'd have to say. The guy got through a ton of work. He has a try, only try of the game for Wales. Really smart, like almost predicting the future to know that Tyburn was going to pop that from the deck. Just incredible stuff, like almost uncoachable stuff. Good reading of the game. 15 runs for 34 metres. The clean break, which is his try. 2 defenders beaten. He has 7 passes as an offload, so he's getting his hands on the pill. 22 out of 22 tackles is huge. He also wins a turnover. He does concede 2 penalties, so it's not all kind of roses and sunshine, but for the most part, TAINE BASHAM, man, quite the young player. I think you'd also have to give a shout out to Josh van der Fleer from Ireland. Likewise, was just seemingly everywhere on defence and on attack. And Lamaro for Italy had 21 out of 24 tackles, which is likewise a pretty impressive total. Finally, from the Lucies, I have gone with another Frenchman in GREGORY ALLDRITT. He was, I don't know how, he didn't get man of the match because Villiers got 3 tries, basically, but goodness me, man. He has a try assist in which he sets up, is it one of Villiers' tries? It's only this morning, but it's already escaped me. I know he makes the line break and the offload. 22 runs, which is huge. That's a lot of ball carrying for 80 metres. He's not a winger, but he still manages to crack up nigh on 100 metres. Not quite, but 4/5 of the way there. 4 passes and 2 offloads. Beats 3 defenders. Makes 11 from 13 tackles. I think he might have been France's top tackler. Also wins 3 lineouts. He does concede a penalty, but otherwise it's a pretty immense shift from from ALLDRITT. He is quite the player. I mean, to be fair, I've done Matt Fagerson pretty hard here because he got man of the match in his game as well. But yeah, I've gone with ALLDRITT. If you want to go with Matt Fagerson, I wouldn't blame you. The backs, a little bit harder. A little bit harder, especially number 9. Who was the kind of outstanding 9 this week? Were any of them kind of flawless? Ben Young's bit of kicking. Jamison Gibson-Park, kicking was a little bit off at times. Some of the passing a bit wayward. Ben White came off the bench pretty nicely for Scotland. Ali Price went off for a wee while for concussion. Came back. I think he was maybe guilty of biting in for the try. Dupont was back from COVID and didn't quite look 100%. Not good without being great. Yeah, who do you pick, man? Varney from Italy? I went with Jamison Gibson-Park. As I said, certainly not his best effort, but in terms of the key role in keeping the ball moving for Ireland, yes, he's essential. That quick ball. I mean, he gets through, how many passes was it? 93. The next best was like 60, 61. That's how quickly they need to recycle the ball. So he just needs to keep going and keep going and keep going. Were all of the passes like crisp and right on the money? No. Some of the kicks right on the money? No. But still, if he doesn't have that quick recycle ball, then Ireland can't play the way they do. He only has 1 run, he gets 3 metres from it. He gets a try assist, which is that ripper out to Conway on the right wing, which is a good bit of decision making. But with a man in the bin for Wales, they should be finding that kind of gap to exploit, and he does. Good decision making for that one. 1 from 1 tackle, 2 turnovers conceded though. He kicks for 200 metres, so yeah, I mean, solid effort without being spectacular. But I mean, tell me if you can think of one, but I didn't think any of the 9s were like, you know, night and day above anybody else this week. I mean, Ben White in terms of a debut goes pretty bloody well for Scotland in comparison. So yeah, there you go. Now 10 is maybe the hardest one of all because I feel like multiple guys had pretty good games here. And it's maybe a collective effort where I've used a way to decide it by thinking there's nobody else from his country on my board, so I will choose this guy. And that's Paolo Garbisi from Italy. I know you can go, oh, Russell, man, with the double cross kicks for that kick out to Graham, surely. Yeah, man, he had a pretty bloody good game. Marcus Smith got a pretty nice try for England, for sure. Intermark, who didn't run the ball, he was like just pulling the strings well. For France, Johnny Sexton, I mean, he missed a couple of kicks in the wind, but he was likewise kind of running the show. But I mean, Garbisi, if you'll hear me out, he finishes with a try assist. Italy only scored 1 game, and he try assists it. He gets that cross kick out to Menoncello. So he's also kind of quite capable of a cross kick under pressure, you know, to take advantage of the defense who've just kind of, you know, been in a position where they didn't expect to have to defend. So quick thinking from him to get that ball out there. He gets a conversion and a penalty. So he essentially has a hand in every point that Italy scores. And he has 12 passes. He has 8 runs for 66 metres. Now, to put that into context, all the other starting 10s this week had a grand total of 44 run metres. That's Russell plus Intermark plus Smith, all those guys together. Sexton, still not as much as Garbisi on his own. Now, you don't have to be a running 10, but he's a running 10. That's always fun to watch. He has 6 from 7 tackles. He does have 3 turnovers conceded, which is too many, and he does concede a penalty. He kicks for like 438 metres, but like one of them's a box kick, man. He's a 10, and he puts in a box kick when his team's pressurised on their own line, and his number 9 doesn't see what to do. He just steps up and box kicks the sucker. So, Garbisi, man. I'll go with him. If you want to go with Sexton, Smith, Russell, or Intermark, happy days. Power to you. But I wanted to get Italy on the board. I thought they played pretty well. And I think justifiably, Garbisi, top run meter guy for his whole team, is worth a shout. Midfield, to be honest, I thought there were 2 pretty clear-cut guys. One of them's Bundeaki. And boy, did Ireland use that midfield to good effect. He gets a try really early in that game, and he does get a try assist as well. So he's got a hand in things. He makes 36 run meters from 18 carries. So 18 carries, the guy's getting a lot of ball. a lot of ball. Like I think he's probably top back this week, probably second only, I think, to ALLDRITT in terms of totals for carries. He was all over the shop. A defender beaten, a clean break, 15 passes. So he is, like I said, seeing a lot of pill. Key link-up man. One of them's an offload. 9 from 13 tackles is not the greatest number, but I do think Bundee was pretty immense. Obviously, Wales played Adams in the midfield, which was maybe a little area for them to exploit positioning-wise, but yeah, Aki was pretty good. I mean, Dante from France had like one big run, but I don't think he gets close to. Aki this week. And likewise, I have gone with his teammate Gary Ringrose, and I've been a fan of his from a long time. Some fans don't seem to like him. I'm not sure if it's a provincial split at one point. Like people have told me in the past, he's not even the best 13 in Ireland. But Gary Ringrose is pretty good, man. Pretty silky skills. A try, which was a thing of beauty. Like looking at the D and making the call, I'm gonna go. And he beats two guys. He beats, I think it's the Tompkins and Williams. Does pretty bloody well to get through there, doesn't he? 11 runs, 65 metres, 21 passes, talking about guys being involved for a 13. A clean break, 2 defenders beaten, 7 from 10 tackles is, again, not the best numbers, and a turnovers conceded. But I honestly think the Irish midfield was pretty much head and shoulders above everyone else this week, personally. But there you go. It's just an opinion. You guys can let me know what else you reckon. I mean, Chris Harris was pretty steady for Scotland, but there you go. Irish midfield for mine. We're getting into the backs. Left wing, there's only one choice. Gabin Villiere, he gets 3 tries, man, and he's everywhere. It's pretty deserved. It's not like he was just kind of the last man doing the easy kind of dot down thing at the end of some well-worked moves. He was really putting in a shift. 13 runs is a lot for a winger. 83 run meters, so he was getting some ball and making some yards. 3 clean breaks and 5 defenders beaten. Among the best stats of the week, for sure. A very hard guy to bring down this week. 2 passes, wins a turnover, makes 1 from 1 tackles. He does have 3 turnovers conceded. So nobody's perfect. But yeah, man, 3 tries, man of the match. Pretty happy days. If you want to chuck Mac Hansen in there, he also got man of the match in his game. And he was also everywhere as well. He wasn't just stuck on the left wing. He was coming in all the time, managed a try assist for Aki's try. Yeah, he was pretty bloody good, but I've gone with Villiere. Hard to argue with 3 tries. Right wing, a bit more of a debatable one. I mean, you could debate left wing too, but I ended up going with a guy, no offence to Matt Fagerson, but I thought Darcy Graham probably should have got man of the match in the Scotland game. I thought he was far and away the most dangerous ball runner. I mean, I know they had a few, but I thought he just looked the sharpest tool, didn't he? He gets a try assist where he sets up Ben White for that try. I mean, he gets himself put into a gap by Hogg, but he guns it and steps marching like he's just stuck in the mud, right? He makes him look pretty silly. 6 runs, 52 metres, 2 clean breaks, 6 defenders beaten. Again, some of the best numbers of the week. 7 from 8 tackles, so the wee man is not afraid to put in the tackles. He also wins a turnover, which just happens to be that key game-winning one when England are attacking right at the death with Scotland only 3 points ahead. He concedes 1 penalty, but I mean, goodness me, pretty good shift from Darcy Graham out on that right wing. I do love the Duhan and Darcy kind of big man, little man combo. I've mentioned it a million times. So good to have one of them on the board. Obviously, Conway got a couple of tries for Ireland. One of them was a pretty simple dot down, but the other one was a bit of a worldie. So if you wanted to chuck him in, or Pinot got a pretty nice one as well, you can by all means do so. Fullback, I have gone with another Scotsman. He was living dangerously at times, but I've gone with Stuart Hogg. Some of his efforts, to be fair, are not that well reflected in the numbers, because him just covering the backfield and putting in almighty boots to get his team out of dodge is something that doesn't really get that well reflected in the stats. But if you watch the game, I think you would probably agree. Even when that one time he was like scrambling to keep the ball in and almost gave it up to Malins. Yeah, he was, apart from that heart in your mouth moment, which ended cool as a cucumber, he was pretty immense. 9 runs for 43 metres, beats a defender. He has 5 passes and an offload, 2 from 2 tackles, a turnover conceded and a penalty conceded. But again, nothing really tells that story of his game, I think, in those numbers. He sets up Graham's line break, like I mentioned, for the try to Ben White. So he's kind of like, if it was a second assist, he would be the secondary assist, and Graham would get the primary assist. 275 metres from the boot. Yeah, I think Stuart Hogg had a pretty impressive shift. So, yeah, there you go. If you wanted another stand-in, I mean, Hugo Keenan was pretty solid at the back. Jaminet, apart from dropping that one ball which led to the Italian try, was pretty steady at the back as well. But yeah, you guys let me know what you reckon. Freddie Stewart was looking slightly more mortal than normal, but by no means bad. But yeah, as always, hope you guys enjoyed the vid. Do let me know who you would have had in your teams. Keep it positive, because these are just a bit of fun. Tell me your team of the week. I would like to have a look at what other people's thoughts are. Every time someone lists a 15, I always find some really good insights in there, and it's just generally quite nice to have a look at some other people's opinions. But yes, you guys let me know what you reckon. Take care of yourselves. If you missed any of the Six Nations, you can watch it on demand, ITV, BBC, and you can watch the future games coming as well. If you guys are in the UK, you'll already have access. If you're not in the UK, you can watch it with a VPN. I use Express, link for that down in the description. Yeah, you're able to watch them for free, so happy days. What's not to like? You guys take care, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.